Right. Shalom. First and foremost, like give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Hashem, Kakadash. Welcome to the elders and apostles. I say shalom. And this is a sit-down lesson of the prophecy updates as of April the 12th, 2025 on this Saturday afternoon. And then you have from the Iran wire. It says Iran, the U.S. agrees to continue nuclear talks at the Omen meeting. But the scripture says, 1 Thessalonians 5:3, when they shall say peace and safety, such rush come upon them as Javel when the child shall not escape. It says, this is from PBS Online. It reads, it says, no injuries reported after a bomb blast near Athens officials agree, railroad company reports. And it says, this is from ABC News, and it reports, it says at least 100 people killed in the attacks on famine camps in Sudan. The FAR UN officials said Rikers have been having increasing escalation heating up throughout the years, and all went now, escalation heating up throughout Sudan, in that region. That goes into that Luke 21 verse 25 of the distress of the nations will perplex the siege rich woman. And this is a news article from CBS News, and it reads, it says, Ecuador imposed state of emergency before rising close elections. Right, so that's what you call second Edge's anniversary. There should be seen earthquakes and uproars people the world as well too. It says a U.S. immigration judge decides to detain pro-Palestinian student activists. Can't be. Yeah, that's another sign of uproars people the world. So we're going to see more signs of that. Since I mentioned them, bring up these scriptures. Yep, this is second Edge chapter 9 verse 3. It says, therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars people the world. Right, so we're going to see more increase in uproars people the world, and these increase in earthquakes as well too. And this is second Edge chapter 15 and verse 15. It says, for the sword and the destruction draweth nigh, one people should stand up and fight against another with swords in hands. Right now, as we see it throughout Sudan, over there in Ecuador, they declared a state of emergency because, they finna have some of the elections taking place over there. Because, recently, I'll say for the past 2 months, they've been having string of violence over there in the area, especially down there in South America. And we've been seeing this all parts around the world as well, too. The modern swords weapon. Second Ezra chapter 15, verse 15. It says, for the sword, the destruction draweth nigh. It says that one people should stand up and fight against another with swords in hands, because we know the modern swords and weapons. So that's what we see among the nations, which is only going to continue to increase. Second Edges 15 verse 16, it says, for there should be sedition among men, and invading one another. They should not regard their kings, nor their princes, and of course, should actually stand in power. Right, so we're going to be having these citizens rising up against their least power due to the unrighteous decrees out of the way their country is being run. Like it says in Isaiah 10 and verse 1. This is second Edges 15 verse 16. It says, for there should be sedition among men, which we're seeing right now, but it's going to come to full effect. Right along with that, second Ezra 16 chapter, that great insurrection uprising. It said, for there should be sedition among men, invading one another. They should not regard their kings or their princes, and of course, should actually stand in power. Right, and that's what we're seeing. And this is the book of Luke 21 verse 25. Try it once again. Yep, this is the book of Luke 21 verse 25. It says, and there shall be signs in the sun and the moon and the stars upon the earth, expressive of nations with the siege rage war. Right, that's what we're seeing around the world, the increasing expressive of nations with the siege rage war. The increasing uptick of seditions and the uprisings and uproars of people world, and increasing of nation against nations and kingdom against kingdoms, and that's what we're seeing in our world today. But we're going to see more signs of that. And this is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, verse 8. It says, in a time to love, in a time of HATE, in a time of war, and a time of peace. Right, so we're definitely living in those times, and we're living in a time of HATE and a time of war as well, too. So we're going to be seeing more signs of that. Matthew 24 and verse 6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See, that should be done trouble, for all these things must first come to pass, but then is not yet. Right, so we're going to see more building up and increasing of these wars and rumors of wars, in nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom. So even though they're trying to have peace talks, trying to de-escalate tensions, but the scripture says, 1 Thessalonians 5 verse 3, from when they shall say peace and safety, such trust come upon them, as a Javel woman child shall not escape. But we're still going to be seeing a rising, increasing of these wars and rumors of wars heating up between the nations around the world, despite the fact they're trying to have these peace talks and trying to have peace with the nations. but you're still going to have nuclear escalations building up and increasing among the nations. The scripture says, Joel, the third chapter, proclaim ye among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty man. So we're going to be seeing more signs of that. It says, I just want to add a side note to that. Matthew 24 verse 6, it says, ye shall hear of wars or rumors of wars, see that you be not troubled, for all these things must first come to pass, but then it's not yet. Right, so it's going to come to pass, but it's not going to end just yet. Matthew 24 and verse 7. It says, for nation shall rise against nation. Right, that's what we're seeing. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And there should be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. Right, so we're going to be seeing increasing earthquakes in diverse places, increasing famines, increasing pestilence, increasing nation against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. So let's go back to the, once again, it says, Trump, this is from Business Insider, and it reads, it says Trump threatens to hit China with extra tariffs of 50%, ratcheting up the trade war. Wow. Man, this man is, this man is crazy. That's why he in that double-minded spirit. What the scripture says, James 1:8, a double-minded man is unstable on his ways, so we definitely be seeing more signs of that. So I'm bring up that St. Mark, the 3rd chapter once again. Yeah, this is St. Mark. So we still going to be seeing these economical trade wars between these nations, especially between China and the United States. This is St. Mark chapter 3, verse 24. And if a kingdom be divided against itself, the kingdom cannot stand. Right, so we're seeing modern day kingdoms being divided against itself, which cannot stand. That's what we're seeing, especially with China and the United States, two economical powerhouses. That's why we're seeing these modern day kingdoms being divided against itself, especially from an economical perspective. And that's what we're seeing signs of that. This is St. Mark chapter 3, verse 24. And if a kingdom be divided against itself, the kingdom cannot stand. St. Mark chapter 3 and verse 25. And if a house be divided against itself, the house cannot stand. Right, so we're seeing more signs of it. St. Mark chapter 3, verse 26. And if Satan rises against himself and be divided, cannot stand, but having him. Right, 2 Andrew 9, verse 5, and Revelation 12, verse 12. So let's go to the RT.com. Oh, I forgot 1 Thessalonians 5, verse 3. I forgot about that as well, too. And this is the book of 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 3. It says, for when they shall say peace and safety, sudden shall come upon them, as it shall everyone with child, which they shall not escape. Right, so because you got these modern day leaders in the world today thinking it's going to be 100% peace and safety, which that's not the case. Because, as I mentioned again, we're seeing the rising and increasing nation against nations and kingdom against kingdoms, and the building up to the third world war. Like it says in Revelation 11, verse 14, the second will pass before the third will come quickly. So as I reference that scripture, so I'm going to go to that RT.com for more prophecy updates. It says F-16 pilot killed during a combat mission in Kyiv. It says a split among coalitions, the willing of Ukraine, European Union top diplomat reports. It says U.S. wants to control key gas pipeline in Ukraine, according to the rumors. It says no good. It says no good for China retaliation on terrorists. White House reports. It says UK deepening involving in Ukraine conflict. It says the Times reports. Right, that's another sign of wars, rumors of wars, which is only going to continue to increase. So we're going to be seeing more signs of that. So there goes to some more different news articles. Let's see. Go to the Arab news. Let's go to these Arab news. seems like that's taking a long time to load. So, well, other than that, matter of fact, we're out that Revelation 11, verse 14, and I'm close with that. And this is the book of Revelations 11, verse 14. Now, this is the book of Revelations 11, verse 14. It says, the second will pass, behold, the third will come quickly. Right, so the second will pass, behold, the third will come quickly. So we're seeing more signs of it. Despite the fact that these nations trying to have peace deals between one another. What Scripture says, 1 Thessalonians 5, verse 3, for when they shall say peace and safety, such trust come upon them. So we're going to be seeing these increasing of war, evil, and pestilence. Prophecies come to pass and fulfill. Because we're definitely increasingly living in those times of modern day biblical signs and signs of times, and these prophecies about to come to pass and fulfill. So with that, hopefully this sit-down lesson was edifying of the prophecy updates as of April the 12th, 2020. Was that April 12th? Yeah, April the 12th, 2025 on this Saturday afternoon. So hopefully this was edifying. And with that, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'Hashem Makakadash, Barak to the elders and apostles, Wa'akim Ma'akwath. Until next time, I would say Shalom.